Welcome to the Silver Screen Podcast. I'm Jared Boomer.
And I'm Katie Gainey West. This is a podcast about movies and pop culture.
And today we are talking about the second film in the Wicked cinematic universe, Wicked for Good, Part 2 of Wicked, which is based on a, of course, Broadway musical. The play is 2 acts, so this is considered Act 2 of the play in this movie. A lot of people think Act 2 is the less strong act of Wicked as compared to Act 1. So we'll break down the movie, though, on this episode and let you know what we thought about Wicked for Good coming up in just a little bit. So excited to talk about Wicked for Good on this episode of the podcast. Now, we do have some news items that we wanted to talk about before we get into Wicked for Good. First, Jonathan Bailey with Wicked for Good and Jurassic World 18, or whatever number it was, is now the highest grossing actor of the year.
So cool.
That is really cool.
Jared, I have so many things to say about Jonathan, and they are all good. But I'm really happy for him. He's made a lot of news this year. That was a big news item, but also because people named him the sexiest man alive. And he's the first openly gay actor to ever be named as such, which is amazing. And I love him. That's all.
Well, what's he got coming up? I'm sure we'll talk about that later on.
I think I only saw Bridgerton. Which is fine.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a lot more in the pipeline, but all they had listed as of yesterday was another season of Bridgerton.
Looks like Bridgerton, and then he's going to be in a production of Richard II in London. So, he's got that on the schedule too. So
okay,
doing a little bit of everything. Also, Zoe Kravitz, Harry Styles, still together. That's kind of haven't really heard a lot about them the last couple of weeks.
No, but I think that's good news. And I'm also still really a fan. Those two make sense to me. I'm very excited about it. I think it's good we haven't heard anything.
I think you're right, because usually when you hear stuff, that means it's not going well.
Yeah, or there's a stunt or something like that.
One of the PR teams comes out and makes a statement about something. Yes. So, also, very cool, Chadwick Boseman has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame now. So, received that a few years after his death, but does have a star now. Got that last week on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So
I thought that was beautiful. And I listened to Ryan Coogler say a few words about it, Octavia Spencer. And then his wife brought a pair of his shoes to stand on the star so that they could be there. And I just thought, what a beautiful idea, honestly, to just... what a nice tribute, and I'm really glad he got it. Also, you know how people say the word is posthumous, after somebody has passed? That word, to me, was one of the hardest words in the English language to ever figure out, because I keep wanting to say it's posthumously or something, and it's posthumous.
Yeah, it's a very difficult word.
Just a fun fact, if anybody else was confused about that word.
I have never been to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I heard it's not in a great area, but I do think I would like to see it at least once in my life.
I have been. So what I can confirm, at least, is it's all over the place. And I went to a lot of it because the only one I really cared about finding was Audrey Hepburn's, which I did, and I cried. But when I was looking around, it's definitely, there's some areas I think that are probably less than desirable, or maybe more dirty. They get more foot traffic, they get more trash, kind of a thing. That's what I mean by dirty. Harder to clean, probably gets dirtier faster, but it's all over the city. So I think it's kind of certain areas, but it's definitely along the main strip on Sunset Boulevard. I can't remember where I found Audrey's. I had to look it up, but of course she's so famous. It was easy to find where to locate it, but I walked for a very long time to find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I would like to go to Los Angeles, and I would like to go to the Walk of Fame, the Academy Museum.
Me
and
too.
Then the new museum that George Lucas is building. That's going to be open next year. I think that would be a really cool trip to go to
I
those
also want to
places.
go. I didn't get to go to the Griffith Observatory, and I'd really like to do that.
That would be cool.
I would say
this has been
overall,
LA trip planning with Katie and Jared.
Maybe we can go together. I will say, I was kind of, the older I've gotten, the more time has passed. I was more disappointed with Los Angeles than I expected I would be.
Okay. I
Like
have been to Los
really,
Angeles once before, but I was not there for very long.
well,
So,
what helped me though, and I think this was a good unintended purpose though, was it convinced me I didn't want to live there. And that's good.
hmm
I needed
hmm
I needed to not want it anymore. So that
yeah.
helped. Yeah.
Next on the news, Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster, very public with their relationship. Hugh Jackman just in Muncie, Indiana, a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
He's been here. This was a second time here now, and that Muncie is where I work, and it's about 20 minutes from where I live. And so he came. He went to City Hall. He went to the movie theater, the AMC in Muncie, and showed his new movie, Song Sung Blue, that comes out next month or this month, I guess, since we're in December now. So he's here for like the whole day. Seems like everybody that interacts with him just is very friendly, and I don't know why
Yeah.
he loves Muncie so much, other than his girlfriend being an adjunct professor at Ball State. But guess that's probably the reason why he comes
She
often. So
is?
she is. So she's not there all the time, but every so often she will be on campus teaching classes.
I
So
wonder why. Like why
mhm.
would she be an adjunct at Ball State in particular?
Yeah, I've wondered that too. And so for that reason, Hugh has been in Muncie twice now, which is more than I thought he would ever come to Muncie, Indiana.
Okay.
So
Sure. I mean, Ball State's a good
yeah,
school. David Letterman, that's his like
yep,
school, but I didn't think that Sutton had any kind of uh maybe affiliation with it. So I thought, oh, that's
yeah. So
weird.
she's an adjunct there, and I know she
Yeah.
doesn't. She's not on campus all the time. I think she
Hmm.
teaches remotely a decent amount, but every so often she does come back to campus. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah. So Hugh was
I
here a couple weeks ago, but anyway, they're all over the place with their relationship.
I
So they're out and
know.
about.
They really are. They are. I just don't like the way they started. I think
hmm
that they make sense. They look nice together, all of that, but I don't like the way
Age
they
appropriate
started.
couple. Yeah.
Age appropriate
So
couple, but justice for Deborah Lee.
hmm yeah. Your cat has something to say about that in the background. So um
He was napping until this conversation. Oh, he's going back down. Okay.
okay, he's passed out again.
This has been
Uh
Cat Corner with Katie and Jarrett.
Also we have some pregnancy announcements. Sienna Miller pregnant with her third child at 43,
Yeah, can
which
we talk
is
about this?
pretty impressive. Yeah.
I saw this yesterday. Sienna Miller, I think, is one of the most beautiful women in the world. I can't even explain what I think is so beautiful about her, and she's so effortlessly cool. We also have the same birthday. But I saw this yesterday. She and Ellie Goulding were at this British, I think it was the British Fashion Awards, and people had been suspecting that Ellie was pregnant with this guy, Beau, who is her beau, who I think she's been seeing for 2 minutes. And she is pregnant.
Okay.
But Sienna Miller showed up too and looks like she's farther along in a pregnancy. But this is her third child and she's 43. I'm just very impressed.
That's
And
very
she looks
impressive.
amazing. She was
So
wearing this sheer dress, and I was like, ugh, if only everyone could look this hot while pregnant.
and then Ellie Goulding pregnant as well. But you're not as big of an Ellie Goulding fan nowadays as you used to be. Used to be like
Listen,
your number
this is going to
one.
sound very judgy. She got divorced from Casper, okay? Who's not my good friend, but I'm going to refer to him as Casper as if we know each other. And I don't
Not the
know. I
ghost, by the way.
don't, right. Casper
The you know.
Jopling.
Oh,
He's an art dealer, I think. They'd been
okay.
together for like 5 years or something, have a son together. His name's Arthur. And I don't know what broke them up. I don't know if it was a messy divorce, but she like almost immediately was with other people, like a surf instructor for a while. Then there was a mention of maybe like she cheated on Casper. I don't know, but then
Oh
it got
wow.
me
Okay.
yeah, then it got me thinking about the whole accusation with was it Niall when she was
Yes,
talking to Ed
Niall.
Sheeran?
There's
And
like
I
something with
thought
Calvin Harris in there too, I
yeah,
think,
and then I
right? So
thought
yeah.
maybe there's some truth to that. I was such a fan back in the day that I was like, I didn't believe it. I was like, no. And now I'm like, I think I might believe Ed because I really like Ed Sheeran. So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really matter what I think about any of this. But she went, you know what really set me off? She went to Bezos's wedding. And I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
girl, her and Leonardo DiCaprio in particular really ticked me off for that because they claim to be the most involved environmentalist and advocates for like let's save the earth, and then they go to Bezos's wedding And I'm like, you have to know. You guys are professionals. You know the optics. You're not new to this industry. This wasn't an
Mm-hmm.
accidental. I showed up, didn't think there'd be cameras. So that really ticked me off. So it's been a plethora of things that has led me here. And I just think her music has not been as good. And even when Jared, you and I went to that concert, like that was disappointing
It
because it
was
was super
bad.
late. Then it ended early. And I was just like, wow, this is wild. Because I had flown from Georgia to
Yeah,
Indiana
you
for
had
that concert.
come back for that concert, and it was like
Yeah.
45 minutes. So
Yeah. So that just all of it together, I was like, you know what, Ellie? I don't know about you anymore. So
yeah,
I'm not sure, but she's pregnant.
yep.
This has been Katie's opinions on Ellie Goulding. So DM me if you guys agree or disagree. Thanks.
Only other news item I had is I saw that Scarlett Johansson was on the Today Show. I think just co-hosting. I mean, I feel like her second, if she wasn't an actor, she would be a news anchor because she's on the Today Show. Like it seems like every other week. But anyway,
Yes.
she was on there the other day, and she was telling a story about her dating life and
Yes, I
how
saw this.
she had not really ever been asked on a date before Colin Jost asked her on a date, and I found that to
Yes.
be an outrageous statement. But props to Colin Jost for just taking a chance, but
I
also I am
mean,
shocked that nobody
shoot
asked
your
Scarlett
shot.
Johansson out. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I saw that clip too. Now, you know, I am for sure a ScarJo fan, but people who have known me for years also know I used to not be a ScarJo fan. And now I
Mm-hmm.
am a diehard ScarJo fan. But I'm really happy for her. I saw that clip though, and just look at how beautiful she was even in that interview. I was like, girl, if you think the rest of us believe you when you look
You
like
never
that,
got asked out. Yeah.
and she did go on to say like that she was a very that she's very monogamous, like she is a
Mm-hmm.
one person at a time, which I respect. I feel like that's how it should be. But she
Yeah.
also like she was saying that she also is in long-term relationships. Like she didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a bunch of like, oh, I had 6 boyfriends in high school. Like it sounds like she just had lengthy relationships. So I don't know, but I saw that too and I did laugh and I was like, okay. Also, I kind of think that GMA would like her to be a permanent host
Mm-hmm.
because she has slowed down a little bit with her acting career and she is naturally good at hosting, it seems like, because they've had her back. It's because certain people have been moving on, like Hoda, I think was, and then
Yeah, the Today
and
Show has that
Gail,
like
not
weird.
Gail.
No,
I
she's on
can't
the other
even think.
channel.
Yeah, but I can't think. I guess Hoda's the only one I'm thinking of. I think a couple
Yeah,
people have
Hoda
left
left.
though.
Yeah,
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 so I think they've just been having guest host, but Scarlett has done a really good job, so they keep having her back.
yeah. They don't have like a permanent host for that hour of the Today Show yet, for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
usually it's just somebody random that always is popping in there, and it was ScarJo the other day. So, also she said she left the date early because she was so nervous. So just like
With Colin?
with Colin Jost, yeah, yep,
Well, I mean, he is hella smart.
yeah, and
Like
probably
I'd be
very very
intimidated too. And he
quick.
is good looking. He is.
I've seen him
But
in person once. Yeah, did not talk to him though.
you know
Hey, it
what?
was
I read A Very Punchable Face and found that book to be hysterical.
I was at the Second City in Chicago, and they just him and Lauren Michaels happened to be there that night, and they were standing out in the lobby, and I thought about going to talk to them, but I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and they were in tuxes, and I said, I think I need to be dressed a little nicer to go up and
I
say
th-
hi to them.
I
So
think you told me this and I forgot because I distinctly remember you talking to me about seeing Lorne Michaels, but I guess I
yeah,
forgot that Colin was a part of that.
Colin was
Wow.
also there, being the head writer, of
That's
SNL. He was
so
talent
cool.
scouting. So it was very cool. But I don't know if in hindsight if I should have gone and said hi, but what would I have said? Hey, I enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
You're great on Weekend Update. I don't know what I Michael Che sent me to sabotage you. I mean, that would have probably gotten a laugh out of
They
him.
go so hard. Like sometimes
They
I'm like,
really
are you
do.
guys joking? But I can tell they're like really good friends.
Okay, so that's all the news. Now we'll get to what we are watching / have watched. For you
Yes.
watched The Paper on Peacock, the
Yes,
Office
I have.
spinoff. Is this good?
Oh my gosh. So I have a very short list of recommends this week. You're welcome, everybody. I have 2 episodes left.
Okay.
Episode 6 was so funny. I thought I was gonna like wet myself. Like I don't even know. I was laughing so hard. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna cry. But I think it's great. And actually, Donald Gleason has been a real surprise for me. I have a little crush on him, but you don't expect him to be as funny as he is. And the whole cast is really good. I I'm gonna get some hate for this. I watched The Office the whole way through, but I wasn't one of those people that could watch it over and over or found it to be a show I just wanted to watch. It's not like I get that, because that for some people is Gilmore Girls. That for some people is, for me it's Friends. But
Hmm.
some people it's not Friends. So I understand that dynamic or whatever, but The Office was never that for me. So I watched it once and then never again. Like I watched the whole thing through one time. But anyway, I think The Paper is hilarious. And either
Okay.
way, it's like 24-minute episodes and there's only 10 of them. So it's a quick watch, but I have been surprised by how much I've liked it. Then Selling the OC on Netflix. I wanted to mention this because
Okay.
I really crapped on Selling Sunset because I think it's terrible.
Is this a
Selling the
spin-off or a
OC,
separate thing?
it's the same group, the Oppenheim group, but they are in Orange County, not Los Angeles. And this show has been around not as long as Selling Sunset, which I think is why it's not stale. But the people, there's a mixture of men and women, which I think gives it a better dynamic, quite honestly. And they're better at selling. They sell a lot more properties in Orange County than they do in Los Angeles. And it's insane because there's a ton of wealthy people in both places, but I do think there's more wealth in Orange County. Um, and I just think the show had like high drama, but it wasn't as sleazy and disgusting as Selling Sunset was. So if you're looking for one and you're like, I want to get my feet wet, I would recommend Selling the OC over Selling Sunset.
I think if I was gonna like have drama on one of those shows, I would want drama about selling the houses and
Yeah.
not drama about the personal people.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
and you can
Like,
tell on Selling, sorry, you're right, because Selling the OC, there is more drama about selling houses. Like, for
okay,
example, one of the main storylines this season, and again, it's only like 8 or 10 episodes, but one of the main storylines was they were all competing to get this $15 million listing. And so, like, that made sense. They were like working on a
yeah,
house. There was another person that was really young and she was just starting her career as a realtor. She did a really good job. So they like highlighted her doing really well and making sales, even though she's like new to the field. So that, and there were a lot of sales. And if you remember, I mentioned on our previous podcast episode that on Selling Sunset, I don't think I saw a single sale this entire season, or we maybe saw one. So
yeah. There you
that's
go.
just my thoughts. And then, okay, Jared, have you watched The Beast in Me on Netflix?
I have not.
Well, I was resisting because I was like, you know how people do. If they say if everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is so good, I sometimes am hesitant. Well, I started watching it because it is Claire Danes
Hmm.
and Matthew Rhys, and both are great actors. And wow, it was so good. And I also think a lot of psychological thrillers can be not done well. And I think this was great. There were a lot of things I didn't see coming. I was happy with the ending. I was sufficiently spooked out. So if you guys are looking for a good miniseries psychological thriller, it's graphic, but there was only a couple points where I was like, wow, that was graphic. It's not like all throughout the entire thing. It's more like you're in suspense for most of the show until a couple of these scenes and you're like, oh my. But it's only 8 episodes and it's on Netflix, and again it's Claire Danes and Matthew Rhys. Great acting.
Nice. I have
Yeah.
two things that I've been watching. One is on
Yes.
Netflix. That is Death by Lightning, which is about the assassination of James Garfield.
Yes, that's
Um,
on my list.
So I've watched 3 of the 4 episodes. It's only 4 episodes.
Okay.
Michael Shannon plays James Garfield. Matthew McFadden is in it as well. Nick Offerman is in it, playing Chester A. Arthur, and then Bradley Whitford is also in the show too. So first 3 episodes were very good. Just haven't gotten around to the 4th one yet, but very well acted. Very well made. The story is interesting because James Garfield, not a guy that I think a lot of us know a lot about unless you're just big into
Right.
history. He's not one of the presidents that gets a lot of books written
No.
about him or anything. So I think it was interesting that they made a show about James Garfield. So
Hmm.
definitely want to finish that. And that's a great recommend, especially if you're interested in history. And then another recommend, this is not history related, but on Dropout, which used to be College Humor, but is now Dropout. It's its own streaming service, but they've got a lot of funny shows on there. There's a new season of a show called Make Some Noise, which is basically where these improv comedians have these prompts that they have to kind of make a noise that sounds like that, or like act out a scene things of that nature. And it's just really funny. It's very lighthearted. The prompts are sometimes really, really funny that they have to try and act out. They're obviously all improv comedians, so they can kind of riff off of each other a little bit and do that really well. So if you want like a lighthearted show, again, that's on Dropout, which is its own streaming service. But if you don't have a subscription, it's like $6 a month. It's very affordable, and it's a very funny show. So
Excellent. Those are great recommends. I'm so happy you mentioned Death by Lightning because I was talking to my dad about Garfield's assassination and I was trying to remember how many presidents have been assassinated. It's 4. And I've watched just kind of on accident, stumbled upon all these interviews with Michael Shannon. I watched Matthew McFadden and also Nick Offerman, who were
mhm.
talking about the show. So I think that's going to be next up. I'll finish the paper today and then I'll start Death by
Nice.
Lightning and report back. And
And
then
Michael Shannon said he
yes.
wanted to do that project because he really knew nothing about James Garfield.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting to him as a what I guess I don't know if he auditioned for it or if he was approached to play James Garfield, but he
Hmm.
was kind of drawn in basically immediately after hearing about it. So
But I like all those actors
mhm.
too. Um, oh yes. Okay, so I have one recommendation for a book. You know what, November was not my best reading month, both for amount of books, but also the books I read. So I did want to mention The Women by Kristen Hanna. Everybody's talking about it. I get why. I actually attended an in-person book club about it, and I think that was great because we really got to kind of talk about what different things we all picked up from it. I think from an educational perspective, it's a really good read because there's so much, kind of like we're talking about Garfield, who knows about him. The Vietnam War, I feel like, is something we touch on for about 3 days in high school, and that's it. And it's one of the things we're most collectively as a nation ashamed of. And we should be. I mean, the whole thing was a mess. But I enjoyed learning about it. And I also did not realize really how disrespectful people were when people came back from that war, like spitting on them, calling them. Like, I don't agree with everything we do with our military, but I would never spit on a military person
Mhm.
or a police officer and stuff. Like, I just wouldn't, that's just not, that's so just, I wouldn't spit on people. Let's put it that way. And then also things like I didn't realize how much they lied about women. They were so in denial of women being over there saving lives. And they were just like, oh, so you went on, they accused one of the main person. They were like, oh, you went on a study abroad trip to Italy. And she's like, I've been in the war for 2 years, but okay. So that was interesting. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in learning about something you maybe don't know a lot about, Kristen Hanna is a really good writer. She's not my favorite writer, but she's a really good writer. She's very good with character development and she does a lot of research and it shows. She said she had the idea for this back in like 97.
Okay.
Um, and then the other thing I forgot to put on there, I read a book called Why We Sleep.
Hmm.
And I forget the author's name. He has a doctorate, Michael or Matthew. I'll look him up. But anyway, super good. It's a nonfiction book. It was dry in parts. Like I did not give this 5 stars on Goodreads. However, I will say it was extremely well researched and it gave a lot of good ideas you can implement immediately to help with sleep. And I will say it scared me straight. Obviously, not last night. I told Jared I was up till 2 and I sent him an email at 2 a.m. But minus that, it has made me almost immediately change some habits because he talks so much about how lack of sleep over time shortens your life. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It contributes to all sorts of neurological problems, all sorts of things. But he gives like real um data. It's all like evidence-based knowledge, and then also says like these are things you can do to help you get better sleep. So I think it was really good. I'll look up who the author was, but that's again Why We Sleep, and it's nonfiction.
Nice. I am currently reading Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which is the newest book in the Hunger Games universe series. They're making a movie about that one. Really like it so far. I think it's better than Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's probably one of the better books in the series. I have a little bit longer left in that book, but that one it's really good so far. And then also reading Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Not done with it yet, but I will say I'm enjoying it so far. I don't think it's my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book of the ones that I've read by her. It's about astronauts in the space program. And so I am enjoying it, but I think it's not going to be my favorite of hers. Still got to see how it ends though. And then Katie just looked up the author of Why We Sleep, and it is by Dr. Matthew Walker, who has a PhD. So
Yes. And funny enough, Jared and I were talking right before we started recording. I also am reading Atmosphere because I feel like The Women and Atmosphere are the two books people have just been raving about this year, especially people who like a lot of the same kind of books that I do. But I'm really enjoying Atmosphere, but I'm only about 70 pages in. I started it yesterday. I really like how Taylor Jenkins Reid writes. And I don't, this is kind of like the women for me, at least starting out. It's definitely a topic I don't look a lot into. I enjoy hearing about space. I think space travel is necessary and fascinating and so cool, but it's not something I would have picked. If people didn't rave about this book, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. So we'll see how I feel at the end. But everyone I know, Jared, every female I know has said I will be weeping by the end and that it's phenomenal. I haven't heard any of my at least female friends who love to read. No one has said it's bad or less than fantastic. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I definitely say it's not bad at this point. It's probably just not
Hmm.
my favorite of hers. So I think I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Carrie Soto a little bit better. So
I really did like Carrie Soto. I love Daisy Jones was great. What's one of my
Malibu
favorite? Oh, Evelyn
Rising.
Hugo. Evelyn
Okay.
Hugo is the one that that's the one that did it for me. Yeah.
So now we will talk about Wicked for Good, released in November and rated PG for some suggestive material, action, violence, and thematic material. 2 hours and 17 or 18 minutes, depending on what you look at and who timed the movie, basically. And then IMDb Rotten Tomatoes scores. IMDb is a 7 out of 10. And the Rotten Tomatoes critics, 67%, audience, 94%. So audiences are definitely liking this movie more than critics.
Yep.
And the box office has done very well so far, $269 million here in the US, about $400 million almost worldwide, 391 million right now. So synopsis for this one: Elphaba, the future Wicked Witch of the West, and her relationship with Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, the second of a two-part feature film adaptation of the Broadway musical. This one is directed once again by John Chu, who is a producer, writer, and director. He's directed, of course, the first Wicked movie, Crazy Witch Asians, and In the Heights. Then he's got a lot of stuff he's working on, including Crazy Rich Asians 2. So there's going to be a second one in that series. Hot Wheels.
I
Okay.
know. Very
And
exciting.
Swiss Family Robinson. So yeah, because that's what we need, a remake of Swiss Family Robinson. Disney's just running out of ideas, I feel like. So, but nonetheless, he's done some big movies the last couple of years and is back at the helm for Wicked Part 2. So, take a quick break. We'll come back, talk about the cast, our likes and dislikes for Wicked for Good. And we're back here on the show talking about Wicked for Good. Ariana Grande in the lead role in this one, playing Glinda once again.
Thank you. That is what I thought, and I wanted to talk about that because Ariana Grande, I think they've already said for Oscars if they campaign, if they will,
They will,
that
yeah.
he's going to be supporting and Cynthia will be lead, so they're not
Okay.
competing against each other. But I totally disagree. I feel like Ariana was the lead, and that
I feel like
Cynthia is the
Ariana
support.
had more screen time in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I felt like she showed up more, but that's just me. But quickly, I'll go through these people. So she plays Glenda. She's a singer and actress, best known for Don't Look Up and Wicked. She's won 2 Grammy Awards. She's definitely known in the music world as well. Next up, she's going to star in Fokker in Law, which is one of the follow-ups, of course, to Meet the Fockers, and in an American Horror Story series. So
Hmm.
should be interesting.
And
I did see an interview, and she's trying to focus more these days on acting.
okay, you are correct, by the way. They are going to run Cynthia in lead actress and Ariana in supporting.
That's weird.
So
Although I did think about this strategically, they might be doing that because Ariana might have a better chance winning supporting than lead.
I think that is the case. I think lead
Yeah.
actress, as it usually is pretty stacked once again this year.
Yep.
I don't know
Yep.
if Cynthia is one of the top
I
contenders in
wouldn't.
that category.
I
But
wouldn't think
Ariana in
so.
supporting would definitely be one of the
Mm-hmm.
top contenders.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that
I'd
makes
be happy
sense.
for her. I will say I have a lot of thoughts about this movie, probably more negative than positive. Um, Not at all to say it was a bad movie, but I do think that Ariana winning for this would not upset me at all. but I haven't seen all the
Mm.
performances this year, so
Hmm.
who knows? Okay. Cynthia Erivo is next. She plays Elphaba. She is best known for Harriet, Wicked, and Bad Times at the El Royale. She has already been nominated for 2 acting Oscars for Harriet and Wicked, and she was also included in Best Original Song in Harriet. She has 6 upcoming projects listed, including Blink Speed and Children of Blood and Bone, which I
Okay.
think is a really popular fantasy novel that they're probably making into a movie. I could be imagining that, but I think that's one of those fantasy novels I've seen a lot of. But I could be just making that up. And then third, Jared, what I need you to do, we haven't done this in a long time, but I mean this so seriously. I need you to just take a little nap. You can just fall asleep on the crush alert button and then wake up in about 15 minutes, and that'll be appropriate for our next star, Jonathan Bailey. Thank you, Jared. I hope the nap was refreshing. Obviously, if you didn't gather, I am in love with Jonathan Bailey. I am aware he's gay. I'm so proud and happy for him, but also I'm like, hey, I love you. That won't stop me. Yes, it will. But anyway, he's best known for Wicked and Jurassic World Rebirth, which Jared already mentioned today. And he's also famous for the TV shows Bridgerton and Fellow Travelers, for which he was nominated for an Emmy. Next up, he will reprise his role in Bridgerton and also do the production that Jared was talking about. Richard the Second, is that what you said?
Richard II, yeah, in
Richard
London,
II.
yeah.
Okay. And what did I think of? Oh, he's Fiyero. If I forgot to say the character's
Hmm.
name, he's Fiyero. This movie has a really amazing cast. Everybody's great. I had to narrow it down. But this movie is also starring Jeff Goldblum, Michelle Yeoh, Ethan Slater, Marissa Bode, and Bowen Yang as well from SNL. Who couldn't love Bowen Yang?
Yes, and Ethan Slater and Ariana Grande together in real life. So
But did you hear they might have broken up already?
really, okay,
Yes. The word on the
we
street
broke up a marriage for that.
broke up a marriage, and she was newly postpartum. Like they didn't even, I don't even think their son was a year old when he started this affair with Ariana Grande.
And Ariana was engaged, right?
She, I
When
don't know
that
if she was
happened,
engaged.
or
She had been married to that Dalton guy who's now remarried.
yeah,
And they got divorced. So I don't know if I don't know what was going on at the time, but I'm just like, wow. Also, I saw today, random, Miley Cyrus is engaged after 4 years of dating whatever that guy's name. I don't even know his name.
okay.
He's got really long, I don't know the style of hair. I've seen this before. They've been together a long time though. So
Max Mirando.
that's it, yes. So they're
Okay.
engaged. So who knows?
Huh, okay.
Anyway, that's how I feel about I don't like the way I don't there's rumors about Cynthia Erivo though too breaking up a marriage. All of the discourse about how they've marketed this movie and Cynthia and Ariana and all this is part of my negative feedback actually. I think it's gotten really annoying. It's just
That
too
was going to
much
be in
for
my
me.
dislikes.
Now
Yeah.
I did. Okay, good. We'll revisit. Also, I will say I enjoyed this press tour better because Jonathan Bailey was involved, and he was in a lot more of the interviews. And I think that he added a more playful dynamic. And he seems. I'm obviously crushing on him hard, but he really seems very educated and knowledgeable about the field he's in. But he's really well read. Like I think he's like a great person to interview because he has interesting things to say. Yeah.
So we'll obviously start with our likes for this movie. There's a lot of talented people in this movie. There was one person that I thought was not particularly great, which I'll mention in my dislikes.
Okay.
But for the most part, I thought the cast was pretty good. Obviously, when you are making Wicked, you have to get people that can act and sing
Mm-hmm.
and do choreography and all of this stuff and wear these like heavy elaborate costumes too while they're doing all of this. And they've obviously got some powerhouse performances here. Cynthia and Ariana can both definitely sing and belt it. So but overall the cast is pretty solid. There's not really any additions from the first movie to the second movie, obviously, because it's
Right.
a part 2, so it's not like a normal kind of sequel thing where maybe you would add a new character in or something. Basically, everybody that was in the first one was in the second one.
Yeah. I think the cast, everybody's like a triple threat. They can do it all. But I do think the 4 that I think are pretty amazing, at least in these roles and everything, are Ariana, Cynthia, Jonathan, and I thought Jeff Goldblum too was great as the wizard,
Mm-hmm.
personally. Yeah.
Obviously the music is really good. But we're gonna talk about that more in dislikes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because while it is wicked, we've got, the second act, which obviously is considered to maybe be a little lesser than the first act. How did you like the new songs? Because I've never seen Wicked on Broadway, so I didn't. I mean, I could figure out pretty easily what the new songs were because
Mm-hmm.
they sounded different from every other song in the movie. Um, and I'm like, there's probably not a song in the musical where Cynthia, where somebody sings to CGI animals. So,
You know
uh,
what? Truthfully, I didn't even think about that. Because I saw Wicked on Broadway. I think I've mentioned before, it's the only thing I've ever seen on Broadway. I saw
okay.
it when it came out, loved it. Amazing experience, unbelievable. But I didn't remember which songs, I didn't notice when I was watching the film which songs were made, like were new. But I just did not in general like the music as much. And I felt that way. I remember distinctly feeling that way when I saw the show on Broadway, even. I thought that I liked the first half better. And they, if I recall correctly, where intermission was in the show is where they put it in the movie. Like it was right after like Defying Gravity and all of that. So I get why they did it. I have a lot of thoughts on in our dislikes, but I just didn't like it. I didn't like the music as much, but I think all of the music is well done. Like everybody's a good singer.
Hmm.
Um, I think for my next like is a twofer. And this is a real sincere like. I really enjoy the backstory of the Wizard of Oz. I think it is such a clever way to look at, hey, this is how these people came to be. Like, here's how Scarecrow became Scarecrow and all of this stuff. And I didn't feel like we got a lot of explanation about the lion, but everybody else I
Hmm.
felt like really interesting explaining their
Also, can
background.
we talk? We'll
Yes,
talk about the lion for a second.
go ahead.
Um, well, they hyped up Coleman Domingo so much. Like Coleman Domingo is the
Yes.
lion. He has 3 lines.
I was going to say, I didn't even remember it was his voice or catch it because he talked so seldom that I was just like, wait, what? And
Yeah.
so I forgot he was in the movie. And then, so I agree with you. That's a dislike. We'll just mix them all in. But my two for with the backstory of Wizard of Oz is I did not expect this, but they never showed Dorothy's face. And I really liked that. It made it a lot more mysterious. And although I feel for that actress, she's already been named. Like people already know who it is. And she's really cute. And I'm sure she's going to be in other movies now. But I thought that was a good choice for this film because it doesn't really revolve around Dorothy. It gives like backstory, but I thought that was such a wise choice. And I liked how they did that. And I was intrigued by how they tie in the Wizard of Oz, which I think Stephen Schwartz gets the credit for that because I think he's the one that wrote it and thought of it. But smart.
I thought that was it was really well done how they used the story of the Wizard of Oz, but didn't
Hmm.
like rely on the story of the Wizard of Oz and didn't add things that didn't happen in the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
Like I thought the way they used it was very smart and like this is going to help us tell our story, but it's not going to be like the end all be all, especially in the second part when you get like some more of that Wizard of Oz stuff coming in. Um I thought they how they handled that was pretty well done in terms of that tie-in. So, this film is also a little bit darker and it's more mysterious. Obviously, our two heroes are kind of at odds, Glinda and Elphaba, and what was, paradise in Act One or the first part of the movie. There's some tension here. There's some things that happen that they split apart a little bit. Fiero has to kind of pick sides. That's a big part of the movie as well. So there's just some more things going on in this movie that are, I would say, I don't know if mature is the right word, but more of a serious tone than like the first act.
yeah. I think this is a like and a dislike for me. I liked that it was a lot more mysterious, but this didn't feel like to me. It didn't feel like it matched up with part one. Felt like
Hmm.
kind of I was watching different people in a different situation. I get that things have happened to them and have affected them, and that's why they're like even things if you looked at Jonathan Bailey is one that I noticed a lot because his hair was different in the first movie. I noticed it more because they did a flashback in this movie. His hair was like really blonde. It was like really bright. They did a lot more like blonde highlights and stuff in the last film, and in this one it was darker. I don't know if they changed his contacts, but I noticed those a lot more in this film, and everything like there was a lot of darker hues, like everywhere they went, it was just darker. It wasn't like a vibrant setting. It was just dark. So I thought that was interesting and certainly intriguing, but I don't know that they necessarily aligned to me. Um, and speaking of Jonathan Bailey, I put Ariana is the one, to me. My last like really about this is Ariana impressed me the most. Like I do, like I mentioned, I think she could be nominated for an Oscar. I wouldn't be upset if she won for Best Supporting for this. I also thought Jonathan Bailey did a really good job. And I know right now I'm singing his praises because he's beautiful, but I think that he did a good job of showing these different emotions and showing that he was really struggling between which path to take. And um, spoiler alert, just turn it off now if you don't want to hear it. But like having to choose if he needs to sacrifice himself to save somebody else, things like that. I thought there was a lot of like humanity in his role, and I really enjoyed that. But Ariana was impressive to me. Like she was the standout, and Cynthia wasn't in this one. She definitely was in the first one for me.
I do want to say though, I think Cynthia had my favorite song in this movie, which
Do
was
tell.
No Good Deed. I thought was really like the standout song in this
Yeah.
movie. And that's a Cynthia performance through and through. That was my favorite song in this movie. Having not knowing any of the music in part
Hmm.
two, that was the obviously I had heard Defying Gravity before the first movie because that's like such
Yeah.
a song that had become such a big thing in pop culture. But I hadn't heard any music in this movie, and I just thought that was a really good song, and that was a really great performance by her. So,
Agreed. I love For Good is the song that I
hmm
really, really like. And it makes me emotional. I will say I don't know that I'm dogging on this movie, but it's very clear it's just not sitting well with me like the first one was. But I was crying by the end. I was so moved by the ending, and like I feel like a lot of things at the end, I guess that's alike, are resolved. And I like the way they resolve, and that made me really happy. Even if not everything is perfect, and even if some relationships had to change, I was very happy with the ending, and I love a movie with a happy ending.
I have a little bit to say on the ending and dislikes, but that'll be more
Oh,
in
love
dislikes.
that.
So, I think that's probably all of our likes though. So we go to dislikes now for this movie. First dislike, Nessa and Bach, those two characters. Why do I don't understand
Mm-mm.
why we need like multiple villains. And I know that they're just adapting this from Wicked, the stage play, but I'm like, we kind of have a villain in Jeff Goldblum. We
Yeah,
have a
Michelle
villain in
Yao.
like Michelle Yao. There's multiple villains, and why do we need like Nessa in this? I mean, I guess it's Elphaba's sister. Okay, that kind of ties
It
that in, but
explains the
like,
Witch of the East. Yeah.
yeah, but they have like one scene together in this
Hmm.
movie, and she has maybe three scenes total. So,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think you bring up an interesting point. I hadn't really considered how many people were turning evil in the movie. My gripe is not really that there's too many villains, but I do agree with you. I don't the character of Nessa just really bothers me. I feel like and I don't like that in particular because she is a person who is differently abled.
hmm
Because just like how we don't want to make stereotypes about people, I hate that the one person who's in a wheelchair is the person that I'm like, I absolutely hate this character. I could do without her and just find her annoying. I would much rather that not be the person in the wheelchair. And also, I like she. It felt to me like this was a woman who's a grown up or like in her mid 20s, acting like a 13-year old. And that was confusing to me. Like the choices she made, I was like, this is what a 13-year-old would do, not a 27-year-old.
hmm
So I didn't like that. I didn't like her with Bach. Bach annoys me too, but part of me is annoyed because it's Ethan Slater. And I know that. Like I was staring at him like, I don't know. I even saw a meme this week or a reel somebody had made about him singing in his SpongeBob musical that he is known for on Broadway.
yeah,
And they were like, real like this guy, Ariana, like even I was like, yeah, that is a fair point. I mean, obviously they picked a weird clip and a weird, if you don't have the context, yeah, it looks really weird. Um, but I don't know. I just found them both to be annoying, and I think you could cut out most of the dialogue and scenes between them, and you would still get the point across, and still explain the Tin Man, and still explain the Wicked
yep.
Witch, the Witch of the East, and all that stuff. Like, I really think the only reason Nessa had to be there was to explain who the house fell on.
Yeah, that was really the only reason she was
Yeah.
in this. So,
Which you could have
um,
just not shown any of that conversation and the house fell and they could have shown the slippers and been like, "Oh dang, that was Nessa." And then we could have moved
yeah,
on.
like allow us to like put that connection together like for ourselves. I feel
Yeah.
like this movie like really handholds you
Yeah, I
a lot.
hate when movies do that. I hate
Yeah.
it.
And I will say, like, I just saw Zootopia 2 yesterday, and that's like a kid's movie, but it's got a pretty complex plot going on, and they don't really handhold you through that. And that was one of my likes, is that they assumed that kids were like smart enough to figure out what was happening. And Wicked for Good is just like, now we're gonna just like straight up explicitly tell you like everything. Like the scene where they like reveal Jonathan Bailey is a scarecrow. It's like, did you think I didn't get that? Like I saw him being dragged in a cornfield, put up on
Right,
like
and hung up on a yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like you
That
think I
was
wasn't able
really
to make that
creepy.
connection? Yeah.
That part when they're showing flashes and the crows are around him and stuff, that was actually very scary to me.
Also that costume like just did not look great. It looks really good in pictures that they posted online. I think they figured
Yeah.
out they got some backlash of how it looked in the movie, and then they showed like close-ups online, and
Mhm.
it's very impressive like how it was made.
Yeah.
I don't know if Paul Tazwell did the costumes for this movie as well. I know he did them for the first Wicked. I think he
Mhm.
did the costumes for this
I
movie
think
as
he
well
did.
though.
The
Um
costume I was impressed by was Tin Man, like how they did
yeah.
him. I did
Yep.
think Tin Man looked really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another just like I had, so I was talking about the person that I didn't really love in this movie,
Oh
and that
yeah.
was Michelle Yao for me.
Yes! Me
She,
too!
I just thought her performance was very stilted. It
Yep.
felt like she was like saying her lines as she was reading them for the first time. Like
Yep.
it just didn't work as well as the first movie. And here we have like another character that we probably don't really need. I mean, I know why they're in the stage plays to add some more characters into it, but
Yeah.
I feel like her character was kind of necessary, and then every scene she was in, I just felt like she wasn't very good in it.
Yeah, and there's no dimension to her. There's no like, this is why she is the way she is, and oh, there's some resolution or she feels remorse for what she's done. I totally agree with you, Jared. And I could tell when she has she only has one song, if I remember correctly, that she kind of
I think
sang
just
in.
one.
She's clearly not a strong singer, nor am I. But I can forgive that, like that. I'm just kind of like, oh, well, that's fine if you're really good at acting your part and everything else falls into place, and it didn't. So it was like more noticeable to
Hmm.
me that she was the weak link. And you know what I think? This could be diving too deeply into this, but I think when she was originally cast, even though Everything Everywhere All at Once was a couple years ago now, I still feel like we were riding on a high of Michelle Yeoh is incredible. She's won this Oscar. She used to be a Bond girl, all these things. And so I think people were really excited for her to be in this film, and it added to diversity as well. But I feel like a lot of that excitement is worn off by now. And so you can't just be like, I won an Oscar and I was really good in this one role.
Hmm.
So therefore,
Yeah.
and I think it showed in this movie. So I agree with you. That was, to me, the weak link.
I would say Jeff Goldblum also is not probably the strongest singer in this movie,
No.
but his charisma and what he brings to that performance, I
Yes.
overlooked that a little bit more than the Michelle,
Well,
yeah,
and
performance.
even at the end, because people can really be bad at crying, I think, on stage. And I'm not
Hmm.
someone who can cry on cue, but the scene where they show the backstory between who he was, like how what's happening to Elphaba is truly impacted by him. I'm trying to say this without ruining it for everybody, but he
Yeah.
like cries thinking back about some of his choices and stuff. And that was really powerful. Like watching his face change and kind of the understanding that he's coming to, and it's all on a close-up of his face. I thought that was really good. So Jeff Goldblum
Mhm.
impressed me. I would agree, I don't think he's the strongest singer, but that didn't matter to me because he was good at everything else.
The music, we already talked about it a little bit. The music in this one just is not as good as part one. The songs are not as strong as part one.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of tell it's like they added new songs in because they probably felt like they needed something to have a little bit of a hook to like get people interested, because there's just not as many standout songs. I think in the first part, obviously Defying Gravity, Dancing Through Life is a great number. The opening number in the first part is,
Oh
I forget what
yeah.
it's called, but is really, really good. This one just doesn't really have a lot of that.
No, this doesn't have a lot of bangers.
No, no.
It really doesn't. And I think it's fine. I don't think it necessarily suffered because of that, but I think just over this film just didn't feel complete to me.
Mhm. And I think it probably works better if you're seeing it on Broadway and you watch part 1, have a
Yes,
15-minute intermission,
it
and then go
does.
right to part 2. You
It
don't
does.
realize that as much, but when you see a movie that is a year after the first one, it
Yep.
stands out a lot more.
And
Yeah.
that was my fear. I was wrong about my initial thought was they shouldn't make this two movies. And I think I was correct. But I thought part one, I was like, how are they going to keep this interesting? And I thought part one was incredible. I thought where they ended it was incredible. I thought all the music was great. They completely exceeded my expectations tenfold. And this one didn't. But this is exactly why I thought you can't make this into a two-part film over the course of 2 years and like a 3 year long publicity campaign.
Mhm.
Like at this point, other than Jonathan Bailey, I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of
Yeah.
the merch. I'm tired of I am excited that there is something that is so positive and good music and clean, like good family fun. I am glad something like that is popular. I will say that. But I don't I just I really feel like this fizzled out for me in a big way.
So, I guess what we could talk about next is another dislike that I had. Speaking of
Yeah.
fizzling out, I just didn't really like the multiple endings in this movie.
Me either.
I felt like after they sang "For Good," that should have been the end of the movie. Like,
Yes.
why? And the Broadway again, they're going off the Broadway play, so it's probably how the Broadway play ends. Again, I haven't seen it, but why do we need a scene with Jeff Goldblum, a scene with Michelle Yeoh, a
Yep.
scene with Bach and Nessa or whatever? There's like 7 different. I'm like, just
Yep.
end the dang movie.
Yep.
It's over.
I
You know?
liked the ending. I liked that they showed Elphaba and Fiero. And I
Yeah.
liked that I loved like the for good. And I liked that we saw how good Glenda's life plays out. And I thought that was to me, I wish they would have shown Elphaba and Fiero that first or like before. And
Hmm.
I wish they would have ended it where Glenda is in the bubble and she goes to the people and she's starting the story. Because that's how, the movie started, the part
I
one.
thought it was going to end there too. It didn't.
But to me, that would have been a great, because then you're like, oh, wow. And now we're back at square one. That's how this all started.
Yep.
Cool. And then end. And I can't believe that wasn't the choice. To me, that was an obvious, cohesive, perfect choice to end it. And they
Hmm.
didn't. I agree with you. I don't like when they leave things unresolved, but I couldn't have cared less about Michelle Yeoh's character. I don't care. They could have left that thread dangling and I would have been like, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, I totally agree. That's actually where I didn't put this well, like I didn't say this clearly in the notes, but I put the pacing left a little to be desired. Like it slowed down in parts for me. The ending was a big thing where I was just kind of like, how many endings are we going to have?
Yeah.
How
Okay.
much
It's
longer
another
is this
one.
movie? I was
Yep.
ready to go. I was just done.
I I also just wasn't a fan of I think how the story wrapped up. So
Mm-hmm.
Elphaba, you think she's dead, but then she's alive, but then her and Fiero, but Fiero's the scarecrow now, have to
Yeah.
escape and they go live their own life, but it's like how would people not find them because she's the wicked witch, and so
Yeah.
that just didn't make a lot of sense because during the rest of the movie they always kind of know where she is or at least have an idea of where she is.
Yeah.
And then Ariana, I felt like it could have been stronger between Glinda and Elphaba, trying to when Ariana has that final scene or whatever, it seems like she's still not 100% sure if she wants to be completely good or if she wants to still be the most popular person
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
world. So that was how that wrapped up, which again, it's probably how the stage play wraps up, but still interesting decisions in the writing of the stage play to kind of have that stuff in there. So
Can I also this is just a gripe I've always had with Wizard of Oz. And I thought about it again in this movie. The fact that water is the thing that kills this evil witch
mhm.
is crazy to me. I obviously we know hurricanes can do damage, that kind of water, but just throwing a tiny bucket of water, tap water, on this lady, and
She's
that's what
dead.
destroys her. I'm like, and not only that, it was one bucket. It wasn't like 18 buckets of water or a fire hose. It's like a bucket of water, and she's gone. And I always thought that was so silly. And I get back in the day in 1939. Okay, I mean, I get it. We're working with
Hmm.
what we have. There weren't many people weren't diving into the meaning. There weren't movie critics as much and stuff like that. But I always thought that was so silly. So I just wanted to share. Um,
I think the thing too with like Wizard of Oz and like her
yeah,
dying with
yeah,
water is like she's not as big of a part of that movie. Like it's more Dorothy, the crew getting to Oz basically. So you only see her like a couple of times in that movie. So like the fact that her death is simple doesn't feel if you don't think about it as
yes,
much probably because you're
that's what
thinking
it
about
is.
Dorothy and the other characters more, I think. So when she
I
dies,
think
just
you're
like, okay, that's
right.
how she dies. But in this movie where it's like she's the main character, you think about it a lot more. So,
I think you're exactly right. It's a simple ending for a person that I think is more complex and magical. And you're like,
mhm.
water? Water?
Oh,
Anyway,
yes.
one thing
Okay,
that's
let's.
random, I really wanted to talk about that tree scene.
Oh yeah, the
You know what I'm talking
Fiero Alphaba hookup scene.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that really lost me. I get definitely in certain movies you have to have I get why in some movies you have to have like a sex scene or you have to like show something happening because like a child is born out of it or something
Or it
happens.
plays a part in the story, or
That's
like
exactly,
yeah.
it plays a part in the story. This I was like, you're alluding to something that kids don't really need. Like, why are you even introducing this thought? And also like it doesn't aid the story, and also
And
it was just weird.
the
It
movie's
was
rated
strange.
PG, so there's only so much we
Yep.
could show
Yep. And it just
to keep
felt
that PG
very,
rating. Yeah.
yeah, it just felt very awkward. Like everything was very strange about it. And then I love too that it was over. They're in the tree and she's like, I gotta go. And I was like, what? So that was shocking to
I
me.
can sense my sister's in trouble.
Yeah. And this is not me being bothered by sex stuff. I was just kind of like, it felt like it was a completely different movie just inserted. Like this scene was just like, oh, whoops, we forgot. We accidentally taped over this VHS with another scene from another. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like to me. And I mentioned I barely brought up anything with a friend of mine, and that was the scene they brought up. They were like, "Wasn't that so weird?" And I was like, "Yes, it was." And
Yes.
I'm glad you said that without me prompting it. So I
So
just that
strange.
scene was odd and just felt out of
Yeah.
place.
Final dislike, we have to talk about it.
Thank
A
you.
couple of things. One,
Please.
the press tour, but also the body image conversation, which happens because of the press tour, because they're
Yep.
doing so many interviews and stuff, and people are just commenting on the fact that Ariana, Cynthia, and Michelle are all very, very skinny. They look like
Very
they
like
have not eaten.
emaciated, like
Yeah, they look like they have
bad.
not eaten in months.
Yep.
So I don't know if there was eating disorders that started on this movie, and it's even more noticeable in this part two than it was part
Yes.
one. Ariana in particular looks like
Yes.
if you tapped her, you would like touch her rib or
And this, do you know what they
collarbone or
also,
something.
it's weird that you mentioned that because I also thought it looked more prevalent in this film, but they filmed them at the same time. They did
Hmm.
one and two at the same time and they just, made it into two movies.
Yep.
But I agree with you. So I don't want to make accusations. I really don't. I wouldn't be surprised at all if one especially or all three or two of these women at some point have had a body image disorder,
Hmm.
whether it's dysmorphia, whether it's some kind of eating disorder. But Ariana looked scary, and her clavicle. So everyone, like your like shoulder, not shoulder blade.
Yeah,
What
that's
did you
what I
say?
meant. Not your
Collarbone
collarbone, but your
was like
yeah. Yep.
jutting out of her skin. And
Hmm.
then somebody else mentioned to me, a different friend said, and some people, there's like a conversation online about they might be glorifying it even because they put little like sticker things, like little jewels on her clavicle.
Okay.
And so it was almost like the point that was jutting out was like more noticeable because they put jewels on it. And it was weird because there were only a few of them. Now I don't take it that far personally, but I was like, yeah, the fact that other people are noticing that means at least I'm not the only one thinking this. And then I saw an interview the other day, and Ariana honestly was getting pretty defensive online, and because somebody was talking about this, and she's like, I think it's just as dangerous to comment on other people's bodies as it is to like. She just said that basically anybody who's talking about it is also doing a disservice to people, and I'm like, this. My problem I would love for you to get help if you need help. My problem is that you're in a movie for kids. It's marketed for kids.
Yeah.
And 9-year-olds are seeing you as a 30 something year old woman. Is she 30? And
Yeah.
you
Somewhere
look
around there.
sick. And Cynthia doesn't look good. And Michelle doesn't look good. Now, Michelle, I think Michelle, it is more of her physical build
Hmm.
than it is anything else. But like Ariana, especially, it's okay if you're not comfortable having the conversation if you have not come to terms with maybe a problem that you have. But like, you can't tell people like don't talk about it or that you don't acknowledge how you can see how this would be a problem for people. Her
Yeah.
dresses didn't even look like they fit her because there wasn't enough fat on parts of her body to
They
fill
looked
it
like they were
out.
about to fall off. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. The other thing too is like you don't want it to be discussed, but then you do this press tour where
Mhm.
all of your interviews are so weird and strange, and people think it's because you're not eating, that it
Yes.
draws attention to it. Like when they did the red carpet or the yellow carpet or whatever,
Mhm.
and that Cynthia Erivo was not going to do interviews because she lost her voice. And then Ariana was like, well, in solidarity with Cynthia, I will also not be doing interviews. It's like, girl, she lost her voice. It's not like she got, like she's
She's not
sick.
mute
Like
forever.
there's nothing wrong with you. Like you could still, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering if part of that was because she didn't want to go out there and know that she was going to be asked about this and
Yeah.
have to talk about it more. And it's harder in a live red carpet environment like that to kind of get the message out that you want to get out versus like a sit down interview where like things can be edited before they're posted online
Yep.
type situation. So I just think the press tour is very awkward for this movie. They're like all over each other. It's again, I get that they have probably a good friendship, but it seems like
Yeah.
they're
But
just
it's
really
weird.
like either food deprived or sleep deprived or something going on.
Something's happening. And if you look at pictures, I even didn't go looking for it. I was just on IMDb, and the picture that pops up of Cynthia is from Harriet. And she just looks so different. And that was just mere years ago. And then you look
Hmm.
at like pictures of Ariana Grande when she was on Disney Channel. I think it was Disney Channel. And it's like looking at a different person.
Hmm.
And so I don't know. And also their friendship, I think that's beautiful. I think it's great if they're like, we want to leave space for other people to make comments and all this. That's fine. But like you're so, it's so distracting, the holding each other's fingers and looking like
Fixing
you're
her
close to,
necklace.
yes, like it's so distracting. Nobody's even focusing on what you want us to focus on because you look so scary.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and give our grades now for Wicked for Good, our scores for this
Sorry.
one.
I feel like I
I'm,
was screaming at the end. I don't want to be screaming at the end.
I think you're going first here. So, what are you going to
Okay.
rate this one at?
Okay, I actually already decided this. I looked at some of my recent scores for other things, so I'm going to give this an even 70.
Okay.
Um, I didn't think this was terrible. I think compared to the first one, which I thought was remarkable, like this just really fell short in a big, big way, which is sad for me. But I just had too many issues with it. I kind of want to rate it lower, but then I look at like other things.
Yeah.
I don't.
Do you have what we rated the first one? Because that might be
That's
interesting
what, you
to
know what? Let's do
tell
that.
people.
I'm probably
Okay.
going to change my grade right this minute. Yes. You gave the first one a 77 and I
Okay.
gave it a 90. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to give this okay, I'm giving it 68. I think 68 is
Okay.
fair. I just it left a lot to be desired. Actually, when I read, when I was looking up the Rotten Tomato scores and the critics, it was 67. I was like, that's probably accurate. Like, I actually agree with critics on this one.
Yeah. And I'd
So I'm going to go
probably,
67.
if I re-rated the first one, I'd probably go a little higher. I'd probably go like
Hmm.
into the 80s if I re-rated that. But I'm gonna give this one, I think, a 64 out of
Okay.
100.
So we're pretty
Um,
close.
yeah, I was kind of around that mid 60s, maybe low 70s range going into
Hmm.
talking about it. But as we talked about it more, I kind of, disliked it more. So
Yeah.
based on
Yeah.
things that we brought up. So yeah, I'm going to go that the 64 for me. So not
Yep.
as enjoyable as part one for either of us. I think that's the consensus from the critics. Audiences are still really enjoying it. So that's, interesting that it's still really popular and people like it.
Yeah.
But I wonder how much of that is people that are just like huge Wicked fans and we're going to like this no matter
Yeah.
what happens.
Or like
So,
families, like if you bring your family, of course you're going to have a good time and it's your family and your
yep.
kids are going to be excited. It's a different experience seeing it from our perspective where we might be looking at it with a more critical eye.
And I think this one, when it comes to streaming, is probably going to be like even more boring. Like people are just going to like tune out quicker because you don't have the
Yeah.
movie theater there like holding you hostage. You can kind of
Yeah.
just stop it whenever you want when it comes on Peacock. So I feel like people might start watching it and then be like, oh, it's not really that good. I think I'll just
Right.
watch something else, and like I would be interested to see like how many people just like turn it off before they finish it. So okay, well, there's our thoughts on Wicked for Good. You can follow the show on social media at Podcast Silver on Instagram and Twitter. Search the Silver Screen Podcast on Facebook. You can find us there. Instagram's really where we're the most active, though. And then you can find our letterboxed accounts in the show notes for the episode. So if you want to follow either of us on the letterboxd and see what else we're watching, you can do that as well. Next time on the show, don't know exactly what we're going to do. We've got a lot of Oscar heavy hitters that are coming out. Of course, Frankenstein is already out on Netflix, but I have not watched that yet.
Me either. I feel so bad. It's because I
Me
want to
too.
give it like my full attention and there's just been too much going on in life and I want to sit and watch it. I don't want to split it up. I don't want to watch it on my phone. I want to like sit in front of a big screen and watch it.
Also, we have Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man, which is coming out, Hamnet, Jay Kelly on Netflix with George Clooney and Adam Sandler, Train Dreams. We got Marty Supreme coming up, Marty Supreme Christmas Day, as Timothy has been saying for the last 6 months in his videos and things. I don't know if I'm really interested. We might have to do Marty Supreme because I feel like
I think we have to. I mean, that's my
I feel like I'm gonna
but
really enjoy it, but I don't know how much you will enjoy it.
the ones I'm hearing about the most right now, Oscar baity-ish lately, people have been talking about Hamnet.
Oh,
like,
yes. Yeah.
To the hilt. Marty Supreme, I've been hearing really good buzz. And then also Train Dreams, people say is unbelievable. And I love the premise of it and stuff. So I'm really excited to watch that. And that's on Netflix now. Dead Man's the Knives Out history comes out I think next weekend. So that's exciting.
Yes.
And then Jay Kelly, soon. I didn't realize Jay Kelly, the George Clooney movie, was going to be on Netflix as well. So that comes out pretty soon too.
Yeah, so lots of stuff as we ramp up Oscar season. So just follow us on the show, look for a new episode in your podcast feed, and you'll find out what we're talking about next.
Until next time, we'd like to thank the Academy.